Good evening, everyone. I'm Pat Sanders, Director of 50 Hoops. My husband is the President of 50 Hoops. We're celebrating 20 years this year as a nonprofit patient and medical education organization, and we thank you so much for coming. As you guys who are really veterans, and I'm talking about this table here with Gloria King. Raise your hand, Gloria. Some of our veterans have been here the whole time. Every time we hold something, they're always here. And they know that we may start out a little scarce, but we may have standing room at the end of this by the time we get through with this. So we wanted everyone to, especially the panel who's never been with us before, just keep it going, because we will, once the people come who are late, you're gonna get a chance to answer a lot of the questions there, because we want a full participation. This is Community Advocacy Matchmaking. And what that means is, instead of normally we have the doctors on the panel, and the patients and stakeholders and caretakers and community are in the audience. This time, the goal, even though we have a lot of community people who have been very loyal and we want them here because we want them to hear the whole thing, we have the community panel, and over here we're going to be filling in with a few of the people who are related in the medical field, nurse, doctor, health organization, anything related to health. We want them to be here because we have some special information for them. I'll go over this again. There is a packet. It's only for the medical people. The community do not have this. If you're a medical person, right. Are you guys medical here? Great, great, great. What this is it's a survey packet. So you can begin now filling out the pre-segment of the channel. What we have are 3 segments: the challenge, the truth, and the solution. And what the panel will talk to you about in each of these segments will be how these are all stakeholders, people who have large constituencies, people who have families, communities, parts of medical organizations, and it is specifically for African American and Hispanic stakeholders, and Tim will introduce those. But I wanted to let you know that what these packets are for is go ahead and begin the pre-segment now, because we want to see what your opinions are now. Then once the panel is done, and Tim will repeat this, we'll do the post-segment, and it goes step by step from the challenge, the truth, and solution. So if you want to fill out all your pre-segments now, go ahead and do it, because we're going to fill out the post-segment after each of the 3 panelists come on. Now, the reason that this survey packet is important is because we're not only doing this program, we're celebrating a phenomenal 20 years. We're not only doing this program here, but we're doing it at Duke University Cancer Center and the University of South Florida. And we are all getting together to write a peer review about what the stakeholders have said and how you guys have responded to them. And this will be documented online in our 50hoops.org. So I've jumped a little ahead because I wanted those who are here to have this, and those who are coming, Tim will repeat it. I want to first of all say thank you so very much to Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship. We started out, yeah, let's give them a hand. We started out at the Potter's House, thus Pastor Derek is here, and we were there for like 7 years, and I think that when they began to build the new facility, we were kind of in between, and our CPA, Jim Talley, goes to this church and he says, I know Tony would love to have you here. So we just did a hop, skip, and a jump, and we've been here for almost a decade now. Not that we won't go back to Potter's House. We will have something at Potter's House, but we have 2 homes now here in Dallas. So I just wanted you all to know that. So, but the reason I said thank you is because Andriette Conley is the director of the health ministry here, and I wanted to bring her forward in order to welcome you. Andriette, thank you.
How's everyone doing? Good. Well, Pat really did my job. She did a great job. But I want to welcome you all to this event today. And I don't know if y'all realize, but this is the last 50 Hoops event for the year in Dallas. So you're at the right place at the right time. So on behalf of Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship and 50 Hoops organization, we want to welcome you today. We hope our desire is that you will come away with some information that you didn't know, whether it's to help you in your practice or in your community, because our goal is to bring more education to our community. And I think we're all here with that one purpose in mind. So thank you all. Housekeeping items, there's bathrooms out. If you go straight out these doors, there's men's and women's bathrooms right out these doors. Thank you all, and welcome.
Just want to let you all know that you can start serving now. The caterers are ready, so please go forward, help yourselves.
Okay, I hope you guys are enjoying that great food. We're going to be eating all night, so we haven't even set dinner out yet. This is what we're known for. We feed our people. We got ribs and everything tonight, so don't get fooled up. Okay, thanks again to Andriette Conley for the welcome. What I wanted to do was to have my husband introduce our master of ceremony. So if you guys can just move quietly, we're going to start the program.
Our facilitator for the night is Tim Upshaw, very, very good friend of ours, also a 50 Hoops board member. Just going to read a little bit about him. Currently Community Health Coordinator, liaison with UT Southwestern Medical Center, Dallas, and also JPS Hospital, Fort Worth. His mission is to make every man he meets aware of the importance of screenings and to get them tested. He said, "My desire is to change the mindset of men so that they will be able to be more health conscious and that no more men that I meet die from prostate cancer." I'm going to stop there and introduce Tim Upshaw.
Thank you. I'd just like to thank Ed and Pat for putting this event on again, and this is, again, their 20th year. I'm happy to say I've had the opportunity to be with them the majority of those years, and this event has been a great thing for the 50 Hoops organization and the community. So I want to now introduce our first set of speakers. They are the speakers for the challenge. Our first speaker is Debra Parrish. She is the First Lady of Truly Missionary Baptist Church, and her mission is to help save lives through research, advocacy, education, and service. And after Ms. Parrish, we have Dr. Jeanette Nash, who is the breast cancer advocate and with the Bridge Breast Network, and she is an expert in the field of population health care. After Dr. Nash, we have Ms. Bianca Hernandez. She is a registered nurse for the past 11 years, whose passion is to help people with patient recovery and health education. So I would like to call Ms. Debra Parrish to the podium to begin the challenge. Thank you.
I thought I was going to be able to sit down. Good evening, everyone. I'm a church girl, so I'd have to say, giving all praises to my Heavenly Father. And thank you to Pat and Ed and the board of 50 Hoops for even doing this occasion. So that I won't be too long, I am to talk about the challenge for getting minorities into clinical trials. Now, we all know that fear plays a part, am I right? And being out in the community as I am, often the question is, and I call it the Whiffam theory, what's in it for me? We've got to break down why it's so vitally important to get involved in clinical trials, and let me tell you what that is. Because when they come up with the new medications, the new whatever there it is, the trial, and they do the trial studies, if we're not represented, do you think it's going to help the new medications are going to help us as they should? Probably not. Now, I don't know, I've had an experience through my father and some church members with the drug lisinopril. And it doesn't do well with African Americans. I don't know why. Maybe some doctors can tell me about that, but maybe they didn't test enough minorities with that drug before they were able to release it. But I know several people have had problems with it. Also, we need to educate ourselves, educate the community just a little better. You know, everybody knows about the Tuskegee thing. That's over and done with. But you know, it's so much at our fingertips today. You've got the internet, you've got doctors, nurses, you've got this organization where if you have any questions, you can get it answered. So my thing is not, don't be afraid. Let's get it. I've been in a couple of clinical trials. I need to get into some more now and some others. But I think our biggest thing is to let people get over the fear and then explain to them that by their participation, they're helping someone. If it's not going to help you, those that's coming behind you. Maybe your children, your grandchildren, your friends, your neighbors, church members, loved ones, maybe it would help them. Let's pave the way for somebody else. Now, that's all I want to say about that because I could go on. I'm a church girl. I can go on, and I don't want to take up too much time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Parrish. Our next speaker, Dr. Jeanette Nash. And we want to make sure that after our third speaker, if you have any questions, we want to hold all questions till after each speaker has spoken. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Good evening, everyone. I am very honored to represent the Bridge Breast Network on behalf of Sister Terry Gray, who couldn't make it here due to a family emergency. First of all, I want to tell you a little bit about the Bridge. The Bridge is doing what the community needs. They are a network that provides access to diagnostic and to breast cancer treatment for underprivileged, low-income women. At any time in life, anybody can be underprivileged and low income. And oftentimes when you are looking for treatment, the options are very limited because of the cost, the lack of insurance, the changes with the current insurance from Medicare, Medicaid. And you can be on a job today, but you have to be on that job 30 to 90 days to 60 days to get the insurance. So one of the reasons I believe as a clinician that people hesitate because they're struggling to get health care from a basic perspective. And oftentimes in the society, when I have worked, I've been a nurse for over 30 years. I know I look young, but I've been a nurse over 30 years, and I'm a doctorate of it. So I've been in it a long time, and I was sharing with one of my colleagues out there, I did research nursing for a brief period. Until one doctor told me one day, working with you is like putting a square peg in a round hole. Because I was saying, well, why don't we talk to people in the language they can understand? And oftentimes in doing research and recruiting for a research project, they'll say, well, would you like to be in this project or this research? And they're like, no, I'm not going to be no project. And they'll think, well, what are you talking about? Why would you want to put me in a project? So thinking about the way language comes at us as a race, as a gender, and as the ability to be represented properly in the language of research. The other thing I believe that we hesitate is because research is designed after the fact for us as a race. I think oftentimes in doing the studies that I've seen and studies that I've written or been a part of, I wonder why are we getting individuals in the research after the cure is made for a certain race of people. I'm just saying that's what they do. And then they'll put us in it and it don't work for us, and we'll say, well, they were farther along in their disease process. So one of the things is helping us to understand that research must be designed to incorporate cultures, genders, incomes, different level of where people are. And oftentimes it's the aftermath. So that's what the challenge is for me. Thank you.
Now, our next speaker is Ms. Bianca Hernandez. Ms. Hernandez.
Hi, everybody. My name is Blanca Hernandez. I get a lot of Biancas, but it's okay. It's a normal thing. I'm here to represent Hispanic community. I'm a nurse. I'm a daughter. I'm a wife. That cancer has been in our lives for the last 12 years. Both of my parents have suffered from this awful disease. And when my mom was diagnosed with cancer, she had the treatment and everything successful. And a year ago, her cancer came back. My dad was diagnosed with mesothelioma 7 years after my mom, and we lost him in 2014. But throughout his battle, he was a very well-educated person. And during his treatments, one of the struggles for him was, I need you to find me a trial that can help other people. And I was like, well, why would you want to help other people and not help yourself? But he understood his disease process. He understood that there was not a cure for his cancer, but he wanted to make a difference for other people. So my question was, I asked my oncologist, I said, hey, do you have any trials for my dad? And she looked at me, she's like, well, there's a lot of them out there. And she didn't seem very interested on looking one for me. So what my dad did, he asked me to go online and research for some trials. He had a language barrier. He was not English, it was only Spanish. So I went online and I researched, and I found some trials for mesothelioma in Dallas. So I had the oncologist make the referral, and we ended up in the trial. My dad ended up donating his lung, and we did 4 months of the trial. But my issue was that there's no trial information for my community. Why would I have to look for it? And people like my dad, if they go online, they're not gonna be able to find their answers. Why? Because it's not in their language. And I'm still in the same oncology office, and all the trial paperwork is all in English. So a lot of those people are not being part of it. It's not because they don't want to be part of it, but it's because they're not given the chance to be part of it. And like they're saying, we need those trials to be for us too, because we're all different. And I think another thing that really affects the Hispanic community, it's a very touchy subject, but it's immigration. A lot of our people are afraid to go to hospitals. They're afraid to ask for help because they think that they're going to be targeted, And we need to be able to educate them that there's some trials out there that they don't cost anything. You just have to enroll and help. And they're not going to persecute you because you don't have a social security number or because you're not legal here. We're all here to try to help other people, and they just need to be well educated, and that's all I have.
Let's give another round of applause for each of our speakers, Ms. Debra Parrish, Dr. Jeanette Nash, and Blanca Hernandez. Yes. We want to make sure that each of our medical personnel that are here. Now, if you will, we want you to complete the post-segment part of the challenge. And I think another challenge is keeping that sign up. But we want to now open it up to any questions that anyone may have. So, any questions? Questions? No questions?
I have a question for the audience. How many of you have been approached to be in clinical trials for anything? Okay. Did you learn from it from your doctor or from a nurse, or who told you about the trial?
In my situation, I was quite fortunate because I'm a research nurse, or I'm a retired research nurse. Oh, yes, fortunately, I worked at UT Southwestern, and that's where I retired from. And I worked for a physician for osteoporosis and kidney stone, which I have an osteoporosis. So I was fortunate to be a part of that setting. And it has been very helpful because in this particular instance, the study is ongoing because they have created medication. I'm sure you all have heard of Citracal. That was one of the drugs in the early days that was formulated there at UT Southwestern. So in my case, it has been a benefit for me because I'm still part of the study. I have graduated to biannual visits, and all of whatever that entails. And I've taken the medication, and I can say that I'm standing because at one point, with other issues, I wasn't able to walk. So I think that it was beneficial in my case. And I heard from it only because I was working there, but they really did an exhaustive effort to post things on billboards, bring materials by the doctor's office. We went to other offices. We were kind of the walking, in my case, was one of the walking participants. So it was very helpful for me, but I was fortunate to be a part of the environment.
I have another question for you. Can you tell the individuals here how a research is started and how it goes through its turns, and how it stops and goes through his post period?
Yes. Oh, I can stand up. Hello. Yes, in our research, it was started, the researcher or the investigator, that was the other term that's used, had already gotten the grants from the NIH, and so therefore there's monies that are set aside. So therefore a team is formulated for whatever that research is, and in our case was osteoporosis and kidney stone. So information went out to other doctors, internists, some nephrologists, doctors just in that area. So therefore, information was sent out, and then we were on the phone. We called patients from other doctors. We were given the okay that, they had issues or there were some concerns. And so therefore, we started. The consenting, everything was detailed for what the researcher was trying to do, or the goals were. So the information was put into the consent form, and as the participants came in, it was quite detailed. They read through the do's and don'ts. And if they consented, well, then it started. There was, in my case, there was blood to be drawn. Sometimes patients would get EKGs, and if there was other health issues, cardiac. So from that point, they were either put on a blind part of the study, or they were just put on, regular calcium. I'm just going to use calcium as a. So that was it. So many months were involved. The patients would come in weekly or bi-weekly. Some were coming in monthly. So it all depends on how the researcher or the investigator wanted his research to start. and then we went forward. So we were like the worker bees that were out there. Every time patients would come to our office, because I worked in other clinics, and we were out there just giving that information, just giving it. It's really an intensified thing if you really want the end result. It's just like you put 1,000 out there, you expect 250 back. So after they got the original data, see, I was part of the nursing staff that did the data from the blood work, from the medication, talking to the patient. So once that data was collected, then we go on to phase 2. So, and then it just starts all over again. And one of the good benefits of the consenting is if there was anything that happened, they got a tummy ache or there was a rash, there was always someone available to take care of your concern, and it was no cost to you. So I'm a great supporter of being part of clinical trials because I can see, I'm a living testament of how wonderful it works. Okay?
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
God bless you.